So when we talk about the L in Alice, it stands for lockdown. I know that some of the things I've said or up until this point make it seem like I'm against lockdown. That's not the case, okay? I'm not opposed to lockdown, but what I do want to do is make sure that we use, see the little plus on here? We're going to talk about an enhanced lockdown. When do we use it? It's not the fix-all for every situation, okay? So when do we use that? If the guy's right outside the door, maybe I do want to lock down. If he's way down the hall, maybe I skip all the way to the E in Alice and evacuate, okay? So that's the neat thing about Alice is that it gives you these options. How do you want to respond? What's going to be best for your safety, okay? So when we talk about an enhanced lockdown, remember we talked about Virginia Tech. The doors didn't have locks on them. So they had to do what? They had to barricade the doors. We talked a little bit about how do you barricade an inward opening door or an outward opening door? Which one's easier? How did they barricade those doors there?
Desk.
Table and desk. So if I wanted to barricade this door, how would you barricade it? Somebody come show me. Hurry. Okay? Okay? See, we've tried that on several places and really putting those chairs under there don't really do much good. Most of the time we think about taking these tables and people stand them up, right? What if instead of standing it up, I jam this into the door and then I take another table and I keep pushing tables up against each other until I wedge them in against the wall on the other side of the room? How secure is that door now? Pretty secure, right? Okay? So it's just a new thing. It's really a simple thing, but when do we ever talk about this and when do we ever try it? So one of my very favorite quotes is that when the time to perform is, thank you, when the time to perform has come, the time to prepare has passed. So we need to try these things now. What about the little door stops?
No, that would affect it.
Has anybody ever tried to walk out a door and that door stop got stuck on the other side? Sometimes you won't be able to get out. Sometimes, and I've tried the wooden ones and the rubber ones on this particular door, and guess what? Neither one of them work. They both slide. So, when's the time to try it? Before it happens, right? Let's see what we can use. How would you barricade a door that opens the other direction?
With the cord.
Yeah, because you were in my class, so you remember. So, we won't go back and demonstrate it right now, but if you'll take a real extension cord, like, not one of those little cheap ones. Yeah, like one of these, a really substantial one. You can slide that under the door, okay? And then pull it all the way to so that this little piece is right up against the door. And then see back there, you got that little table. You could slide that table in front of the door and wrap this cord around the table a couple of times where the table is actually wedged across the door frame. That's actually pretty effective, okay? It's quick, but remember, if you're going to lock down, you need to think of that as a temporary option because you need to be thinking about a couple of things. What else can I do? Can I get out? What am I going to do if the guy still comes through here? What do we have on either side of these doors here that makes a lockdown a little bit more difficult? Glass, okay? How easy is it to defeat that glass? Way easy, okay? So, if we're stuck in here, what are some things that we can do to prepare, okay? What have we been teaching kids to do in a lockdown? Everybody's huddled together, right? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? So we're skipping ahead a little bit, but as we get to the C in Alice, we're talking about counter. What if we all spread out in the room? And then what if we took things, hard things, chairs, staplers, scissors, whatever, so that when he does come in, what if we start throwing things at him? Does that give us an opportunity to move? Okay? Where do we move? Well, we can move towards the threat. We can move towards the door, right? But it's about buying yourself some time. Think a couple of moves in advance when you play chess. Good chess players aren't thinking one move at a time, right? They're thinking several moves. So now, how do we use that to your advantage? We already talked about your stimulus, unexpected versus expected. Anybody coming in here trying to shoot people, are they going to expect people to throw things at their face and run at them? Probably not. Okay? So if you have your hands full, you can maybe throw one thing, throw another thing as you head towards the door. What's your natural instinct if someone throws something at your face? Doesn't matter if you get coming in with a gun or not, right? If I throw that right in your face, you're gonna catch it, right? But your natural response is what? You look away, close your eyes, nobody wants to get hit in the face, right? Okay? So, what about alternative escape routes? We already kind of mentioned glass, but we don't usually think about that when we're talking about getting out of a window. Can you break a window to get out? So for so long, we've done training, but we've never told employees or students, it's okay to break stuff. If your life's at risk, break that glass. We'll replace the glass, okay? So look for other escape routes. Who knows anything about construction? What are these walls made of? Huh? Okay, what's drywall made
Drywall with
of?
steel studs, or 2x4 studs,
It's 2x4s with
metal studs.
either metal or wood studs in between them, right? But can you kick a hole in this wall?
Yes, sir.
So in this room, we just have those two doors, and this one goes into a closet. Is a closet a good place to lock down? If it's all you got, it's all you got, but you don't really have an escape route. If you get stuck in there, can you kick through the wall and go to the next room? Maybe you can, okay? But if you're going to lock down, it's better if you have an opportunity that you can lock down a room with multiple exits so you can get on either side, right? So there's some things you need to think about. What about this 911? We already kind of talked about this. We used to tell we had a problem for a while here at the PD where there'd be a hot incident going down and the lieutenant and the captain, everybody would be on the phone trying to get the sergeant to tell them what's going on. Listen, I can't answer you right now. I got stuff to do. Let's get this thing safe and then I'll tell you. Okay? So we adopted a philosophy for our SWAT team. Bullets now, talk later. Okay? We got some serious stuff going on. Let's take action now. Once this thing's safe, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Okay? So kind of the same thing with 911. Get yourself safe. Once you're safe, then we can call 911. Okay? Oh boy. And then first aid supplies. That's great if you have them. When's the time to know if you've got first aid supplies? Now, before it happens, right? Okay. What about the doors? What are the doors made of? You know, we hear these are pretty good, solid, hollow, solid core doors, but a lot of doors are hollow core doors. How many doors do you see like this one in the middle with all the glass in it? How hard is that going to be to lock down? Very. Even these, even though they're good doors, you can punch a hole through that glass and just reach around and hit the bar, right? Now you can get in. Or just go through the glass, right? So let's be really realistic when we look at these things. When I went over to City Hall to look at all the stuff that they had going on there, I went over to the mayor's office and they have the same type of magnet doors like we have on a glass door. I reached over and grabbed the handle and tugged on it real sharp and it popped open. The lady who worked in that office, her jaw hit the desk. How did you do that? I said, it's not hard. You have no idea how much we spend on that door. I said, it's amazing how much people will pay for the illusion of security, right? Because we're not really that secure. Now is the time to look at these things and see how secure are we really, okay? So, glass, we already kind of talked about it, can and has been defeated. Sandy Hook is the one that sticks out in my mind the most because the shooter shot right through the glass to get into that school, okay? But there's other instances of it as well. What about piling stuff up in front of the door, like these chairs and stuff? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, no.
Yes and no?
Yeah, because they could stop it, but then again, we need to leave
Exactly right. And how long does it take to stack all that stuff up?
a lot.
So if you're going to lock down, just remember and look at the situation honestly and what's your purpose. Is this where we're setting up for the rest of our life? Or is this a temporary thing where maybe I just want to secure it for right now until I can come up with another plan, right? So you need to be constantly thinking. What about this bookcase? Oops. What about this the little bookshelf in front of the door?
Heavy.
Is it going to help?
Yes and no.
Maybe.
Same thing. It's almost the same thing as the chairs.
So
So
you-
you gotta take time to take it back.
Right. So you can see there's hinges up here, right? So the door opens in or out into the room. Likely going to push that bookshelf over.
It's top heavy.
Looks like it is to me. I thought the same thing. What about something like this? A big, heavy rolling bookshelf or case that you could actually roll in front of the door. What if you had locking casters that you could just step on and lock that thing in place? Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
Is that quick? So I mean, you're always thinking, right? How long does it take to do this and what's the benefit? Okay?
Even if they're not locking casters, you lay it on the side, just
Sure.
flip it over.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Push it over.
It'll slow them down, right? Here's an actual student barricade. You can see they've got the tables stood up, but they've also got things tied off to other things. We'll talk about this closure here in a minute. You've got ropes and stuff. When's the time to think about all this? Before it happens, right? What do you want to have near your office that's ready for you to use if you need it? So, door closers. What do you guys think of this? Is this an effective option?
Yeah.
I think it's going to buy you a little bit of time, okay? But you can see that it's going to slide this direction as people start pulling on it, right? And also, it kind of depends on what your door frame made of. I tried this the other day on that door frame, and it's a solid core door with a metal door frame. And it actually has a space in here where you can thread something through it so it won't slide. You have to push on it very hard, and you can see it pulling that door frame away. So, when's the time to try it? Now rather than later, right? Remember when I described you the extension cord and the table?
Is that idea?
That picture right here, did that kind of give you an idea of what I was talking about?
Yeah,
How effective is that?
pretty effective.
Pretty dang effective, right? Okay.